Hey everybody, it's Ready for 401k, also Money Like King Bob. Today we're going to be looking at ticker MMAT, that's metamaterials. I'm going to see what's going on with it, where it's going, where it could be, where it's not. Let's get at it. All right, everybody, let's see what is going on here with metamaterials. A lot of good signals going on. I like to load up with RSI, stochastic RSI, I have Bollinger Bands, and then I have my Hall moving averages going on here. So we'll get into these and explain what's going on, what we're seeing. Very important thing is that if anybody is giving you a technical analysis, you probably want to make sure the chart is in a logarithmic scaling. There's a lot behind this, so if somebody's trying to give you some sort of technical analysis and they're not using logarithmic scaling, you're probably going to miss some marks. So key thing there. We do see just basic stuff. We can see some foundation support as far as trend goes. We do have confirmation going through here. A lot of times people think that, your support and resistance needs to be at the highs and lows and lows, and that's not necessarily true. Market will fluctuate and move in ways that can be stimulated and impacted by other factors that are being played. There are consistencies though when you start doing this stuff. So when it comes to MMAT, as far as the whole moving averages go, I can see that we are getting finally today actually just broke above this 200 whole moving average. It was acting like a resistance for quite a while. Again, this is a daily chart. But if we look back here, we have our 21 period whole moving average where we're just having a little battle with it. It was providing resistance support as it usually does. Finally turned support. We have our TWAP on a 30 period. This is great, seeing this crossover turn green, becomes support, and pushes price up along with the HMA 21. We have the HMA 50 rolling up with it. This is one of those situations where we talk about getting the golden cross or a death cross. So we have our 200 here, we have our 50. So we get that coming across, that would be a golden cross. So if you're a technical trader, that would push a lot of price movement in itself. We have a tightening of the Bollinger Bands on the lower side. Typically price breaks opposite direction of the side that the price is moving in the Bollinger Band when it tightens up like this. So it tightens on the lower side, typically price wants to move to the opposite side of it. Vice versa, it starts staying in here, tightening on the upper side, it wants to move down. So these are all good factors playing in. We had great volume pushing in here the other day. We were about relative volume was a 1.7 almost, so almost 2 times the volume at this time. Even today, I'm sorry, this is actually 2.11, so it was 211% of relative volume. Today was a 1.69, 1.7. So that's looking good. That means that something is in the works. People are looking at this. What I can pull out here, ever do work with pitchforks, works absolutely phenomenal. You want to go to your high, low, and high. I'm going to put a magnet on this so it get really tight. So this is all founded in formulas and equations because the stock market moves off of formulas and equations and numbers and ones and zeros, right? So as you can see, if I pull a pitchfork right off of this, I can identify very quickly where we are finding a support, where we're finding resistance. All right, so let's go ahead and turn this off here real quick. Keep these lines because they'll help us out. So what we're looking at is a 0.618 and a 0.5 in your zero, your center. We can see that price was bouncing off of the 0.618. and it is rolling up. So just understand that these numbers 0.618 or 0.5, people will refer to them as percentages, but they're kind of a scaling of sentiment in this kind of metrics of value. So we can see that at this point, and we can even reference down to our RSI, the stochastic RSI. We can see at these points where it hits in these fork channels and it wants to pull off and drive towards center of the pitchfork. So now the test is going to be, okay, we see it today, it's actually approaching center. Is it going to break through? We can see it tested here just the other day with this spike in volume. Well, we're approaching it again. So are we going to test it again, or are we going to break through it? Being that we actually broke above and closed above this 200 Hall moving average, now we could very well see coming tomorrow, close the week out, where price is going to actually bounce off of the launching pad. So what I'm going to keep an eye on is this. So I want to see the TWAP, this is our time weighted average price, go up. I want to see this 50 Hall moving average, 50 period, keep continuing up, right? And actually, I'm hoping it curls up a little more. Granted, this doesn't want to work with me well, but I want to see it probably go up a little tighter. And I want to see this 200 isn't going to be too impacted. It's probably going to draw out a little bit. Okay. But I do want to see over the next couple of days this 50 Hall moving average. So I don't have a feeling it will be tomorrow, but I think probably next week, seeing it approach here. So what all this is going to do is probably draw price to maybe do this sort of movement. Okay. Once we get above this, if we don't have any breakdown in sentiment, we have strong volume behind it, we could see price do this kind of movement like that. Okay, we'll see it roll over, find support, and go up. Okay, not saying it's running up to $9, but this is the general direction that I'm referring to. Now, if by chance it rejects here, right? If we hit this and it starts to roll over, I will be looking for these dynamic kind of lines to be support. So I want to see if it will ride at these points around $4 upwards of 430-ish is kind of where I'm looking at. This is going to happen over probably a few days. So let's look at some kind of support resistance levels. If we're looking just straight at it, let me hide our pitchfork here. So I can go here, I can place a line, right? If I zoom out, I can see that, okay, this actually has relevance historically. All right. If I look here, around this area, put another line. Okay, we get some confirmations here. So this is all part of the line work that we look at when we're doing kind of technical analysis. So I'm going to do through here is I'm just going to quickly kind of spot out where I can see, I always like pivot points. We see if those have relevance somewhere. And then that will help us paint the picture, the bigger story, right? So because we can see after hours, we're getting a price is going up 565. So we've already gone up, roughly 30 cents after hours. This is great. All right. So then as we start to get at these higher points, these peaks and valleys, you're going to get the bigger picture. There we go. All right. So being that price is sitting up here, I'm hoping it stays after hours because we have indications here on the stochastic RSI. We had a crossover. It's telling us it's more of a buy signal. It's maybe a little more bullish. The RSI itself at the time did not state that, but once we broke into this upper territory, the upper 50 of the Bollinger, the Bollinger Band, the RSI, this becomes more of a bullish run. So tells us that this is a buy signal. So this volume here is where this narrative kind of leads us, right? So it broke above, technical traders came into play. We got even more volume pushing in. We got it to ride up. Technical indications here, riding on the TWAP, push it up with volume. We have a pullback here. So you probably have an overextension. We have just through, again, technical traders, stochastic RSI is at just a very high point. So people are probably taking profits, okay? But you can see that price actually didn't do much out of that. There wasn't much selling volume over here. Now we come into today, more buying volume supporting the run. So stochastic RSI can actually sit up here, we can see for a while, right? It's the flat. The general RSI itself will typically have these kind of the ebb and flow to it in movement. This will have a formation. So this is great. Seeing that the RSI on a daily scale is lower, but this isn't necessarily a sign of exhaustion because the price is lower from this high point. Okay, so this is again another good sign. When we start looking at the trend of the RSI itself, the sentiment, we can see that the price action along with the sentiment, as long as volume is behind it, will get us up to these areas again. Okay, so that's why I'm not too worried about this pulling off of here to here. That wouldn't be the best way to actually look at this. What I want to look at is history. I want to see where the market feels it can go as far as the sentiment goes, the volume goes, and where it will move this price. All right, so I'm going to look here, okay, where the price is right now. This is going to be a retest of a high from the other day. We're going to see if it holds overnight. All right, things are looking really good with this right now, by the way. All right, this is the first thing we're going to see, is if 579, if we're going to actually hit this, break above it, or if it's going to actually reject again. If it rejects again, then I'm going to look for a retracement on this because more often than not, you get double tops, triple tops, right? Those are formations that are going to lead you to a reversal or a retreat. So buyers or sellers, whatever, it's double top, double bottom, triple top, triple bottom. You're looking for those things to kind of give you an indication of where your entry and exit is. All right. So for my retracement, let's say this is a situation where it hits this point again, it's going to do a pullback. Now the 50% principle is that price on 100% movement is expected to retrace anywhere from 50 to 60, 65-ish% out of a kind of a consolidation period before it moves again. All right, so we can see here it broke up. Well, look at this. We had this retracement a day later. We had this consolidation a day later. So does this mean that this is now then justified and we could go up? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe it's going to hit this again. We're gonna come back down. And in that case, what we're looking at here is probably just more of a flag, right? Let me do this a little better here. Probably a little more of like a flag. So we'll have price probably doing some little funky thing, right? Until it figures it out and then it goes. Okay. So always make sure you're aware of what, if you have a stop loss, just, protect your profits. So price bounces here, we get to this high, we start to see a pullback retracement. Nothing wrong with pulling out. Nothing wrong with that. Save your profit, save your money, right? Wait for your re-entry opportunity. Just know that you want to keep an eye on these technical indicators, right? If I do see a pullback, all right, I would imagine I'm looking at about 430, 394, right? These are the two key levels that I'm looking at of where it can go. If price doesn't reach this point and does start actually working way back up again, then I may actually wait until I break a historic level again before I get back in. Because the last thing you want is kind of a false reversal, false positive, right? So price breaks below on this point, gets down to 430, below $4, goes back up. I may want to see this actually break at 492. I may want to see it break this point before I'm comfortable maybe thinking that, okay, this is good. As long as everything else supports it, whatnot. All right. So I know this is just daily. So if we step back out, let's look at our weekly here real quick. So here's the other bigger picture I want to be aware of. Let's clear retracement down real quick. Okay. So these anchor points are actually relevant on a weekly and daily scale. This is what you want. You want you want confirmation through multiple time frames whenever you plot something like a pitchfork or a trend line, right? Because that actually is it more solidifies the confirmation of trend and the technical formation. So what we see here now, if I go out to a weekly time frame, same thing. We can see the bigger picture of where this is coming from and moving through this. And then we do have support here by the TWAP again on the so TWAP 30 period on a weekly scale. We have the support. So again, double layering of confirmation. Not only on the daily do we have that, but we have it also on the weekly. We have on the weekly, the 50 is above the 200. This is great. So ideally, we want to see a situation here. So I can tell you right now what's going to happen is, since the 50 is calculating out 50 bars, right? 50 period. This price is going, this drop right here will cause this to roll, okay? Now, if everything pans out and this volume, this pressure pushes through enough as is, it could counter what is happening here. And so if this long period rolls up and cuts over, we probably see something like this, right? That'll happen. If this is the case, you know, if price stays true to what's going on, then we're good. We're going to break through and go up. Okay. So again, we're looking at all these indicators coming together. It is looking good right now. I will tell you, on a daily and weekly time frame. You know, weekly time frame, we just turned bullish here. We had a crossover here on the stochastic RSI, again, bullish buy indication, sentiments here. So I have a good feeling that this will push price up. But again, always want to be safe. Know your stop losses, know where your points are, retain your profits, and where it is. So anyways, you know, come check us out, moneyvikings.com. Like, subscribe to the channel. We'll keep bringing out content, getting it up and running, and we'll catch you all in the next one.